Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you enjoyed these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I'd appreciate it, and I'd be able to send my best to your inbox on a daily basis. If you like these watches, you can buy them, this one and 1,700 of its closest friends, on our website, thewatchbox.com. Buy, trade, and sell luxury watches on thewatchbox.com. And today, we are discussing the Patek Philippe Nautilus 5726 1A-010. So the current generation of Nautilus debuted in 2006 for the 30th anniversary of the family. The annual calendar on a strap launched in 2010. For 2012, we got the full-bore annual calendar on a bracelet that you see here. Now the watch is easy to wear. In most respects, it's just a Nautilus dimensionally. 40.5 millimeters if you measure it from its quirky 10 o'clock to roughly 4 o'clock diagonal. The timepiece is also relatively slim considering its automatic winding, 120 meters water resistant, and an annual calendar. 11.6 millimeters is the thickness, and you'll note that the slope of the case flank makes it easily compatible with a dress cuff or tight sleeve. The best way to measure this watch across the wrist is to measure from the intermediate link on both sides across, because that is the outermost rigid point. You can never remove that intermediate link. Whether you wear it on a bracelet or a strap, that link is present, and as you can see, it is not completely flexible, so there's a bit of flare, and the measurement across the wrist is still manageable, 51.3 millimeters. The timepiece has a wonderfully made bracelet, a classic. Gerald Genta originally envisioned his 1976 Nautilus with an integrated case, lug, and bracelet profile. So to be able to get the annual calendar with the exact same design vision executed as the master penned it means you're a little bit closer to the source, so to speak. So you'll also note that it's beautifully made, and we may as well open up the clamshell closure. Forgive my nails, they are not what they were. Mandatory manicures have a price. So the bracelet is beautifully made, and because the links themselves are a little bit smaller and the Nautilus uses an intermediate link system between them, it's very supple. Think Rolex President bracelet and you've got the general idea. Now the links themselves are also relatively slim, so it sits flat on the wrist along its peripheries. You'll note the beautiful finish of the bracelet as the hairline bevel of the case flank continues unabated and perfectly aligned across the shoulders of the links. You'll note satin finished in profile, satin finished across the top with the polished intermediate. One respect in which perhaps the Nautilus has the leg up on the similar Royal Oak, also by Genta, is the contrast afforded by these intermediate links. Now on the underside, you can see plenty of gaps between the links themselves to avoid pinching skin and pulling hair. You can see my baseboard shining through. It also aerates the wrist quite well. Of course, the modern generation of Nautilus bracelets uses sizing pins and sleeves. Perhaps not the choice I would make, but Patek says it's tougher than a screw as it's less likely to back out. For the time being, I let you judge. Now you can see internally a fully finished double deployant clasp with a curvature so it matches the underside of the wrist. You'll note the clamshell mechanism. There is investment in new technology at Patek Philippe, however, as you can see, despite the move to pins and sleeves, ceramic, a spring-loaded retaining ball, has been used on the bracelet to maintain the tight tolerances of the clasp over time. So ceramic will not wear down under the influence of the clamshell. This one will still close with a snick and a snap 20-30 years hence. Moving back to the case itself, the Nautilus is unmistakable. Gerald Genta did well with the Ingenieur SL for IWC, the Royal Oak for AP, and the Nautilus for Patek by creating three visually related watches that don't feel like clones of each other, and the Nautilus might be the masterpiece among them. The combination of the top case component that joins to the wings on the flanks is both mechanically interesting and visually distinctive. Perhaps more than the Royal Oak, this watch blends curvature as well as crease, satin finish, and polish. There's simply more going on about a Nautilus case than there is on the, again, similar but simplified Royal Oak case. This is handsome, and there's a great modularity about the design. As you can see, the wings, the top portion of the case, the bezel, the mid case, and the case back all come together as separate but sculpturally distinct styling elements. Now, the design is built around a sort of rounded octagon, so we see that the dial itself is different from what we've come to expect. Inboard of the rounded almost porthole style bezel. You can see the dial is a silver white, best described as a matte silver. It does have a little bit of metallic gleam and glint, but it's not a straight sunburst, so it's not explosive in light. It glows with warmth. You'll note that all of the indices are blackened, as are the hands at center. They're still in gold, they're just blackened for high contrast, and I actually find this is easier to read than the conventional white gold indices on the blue gradient dial. Lots going on here in terms of functions and features. You have an aperture style annual calendar. It requires adjustment via its pushers only once a year during the jump from February to March, hence an annual calendar. You have the day, the month. You have a date and a radial 24-hour phase that's both AM, PM for the time at center, and a warning as to the danger zone when you should not try to manually adjust the calendar functions. There's a gorgeous crescent-style moon phase, and though you might not be able to tell in the video, it is a beautiful midnight blue, almost navy blue sky about the cosmos. The watch features center seconds, counterweighted with a lancet-style bob, and when you turn the watch over, yes, it has a screw-down crown, you can see the caliber 324, and it's an absolute alphabet soup, LUQA 24HS. All of that meaning it's an annual calendar, it's a moon phase, it has center seconds, and it has a 24-hour dial. Beautifully executed, and again, water resistant to 120 meters. The watch gives up none of the basic Nautilus model's water resistance in spite of the many through case fittings that are used for the annual calendar adjustment mechanism. Automatic winding via unidirectional action, more efficient than bidirectional. It also features unlubricated ceramic rotor bearings for even higher efficiency and reduced maintenance requirements. 35 to 45 hour power reserve. It beats away at 28,800 vibrations per hour. The one feature it does not have is hacking seconds, but it has a number of other refinements, including a free-sprung Patek Philippe Gyromax style balance, takes and holds a precise regulation in 6 positions, busting the chronometer standard of 5 positions. This one goes above and beyond. 34 joules. That movement is also blessed with a hidden piece of materials technology that you can't quite see, but if you were to look at it under a loupe, you'd note that the hairspring is brilliantly blue. No, not parachrome blue like Rolex. This is a Spiromax anti-magnetic silicon hairspring, so a considerable amount of innovation in the old 324 being updated to modern standards and materials. Of course, one constant with Patek Philippe is the standard of finish, though this features the Patek Philippe seal rather than the old Geneva hallmark. There is no reduction in quality. The bevels are just as round and just as mirrored. The screw heads are just as black polished, with their slots just as richly chamfered. Perlage across the base plate, perfectly aligned linear Côte de Genève across the bridges, and circular Côte de Genève across the rotor. You'll note the icing on the cake, the spiral micro perlage at the center of the winding mass. See how close we can get. It is an absolute masterpiece. This is what you're paying for when you get a Patek Philippe. One standard of finish. Paying more at Patek merely buys you more complication. Though for most, the annual calendar will be plenty. A complex calendar, automatic winding, full luminescence, and a watch you can wear every day. This is your all-around Patek. The complication that they invented in the annual calendar, and the shape that they made famous in the Nautilus. And we're back with the Patek Philippe Nautilus 5726 annual calendar. Big and bright and bold. See it in the light on our website.